I like Dragon Ball as much as the next guy. I think that deep down, everyone who watches anime likes at least one aspect of Dragon Ball just because of how iconic it is. I can imagine that Dragon Ball Z is the first anime a lot of you've watched when you were younger, and now Goku and Vegeta are in Fortnite. But with all that being said, the Dragon Ball series has been out since my mom was growing up. My siblings watched it on their come up, and then I did. And now in 2023, the series still holds relevance today. As the series continues, there's been a lot of discussion about the quality of Dragon Ball. I feel like the series has gotten to a point where it's really starting to show its age. The newest Dragon Ball movie in the Dragon Ball franchise, Dragon Ball Super Superhero, was released as one of the Dragon Ball movies of all time. This movie is bad. Apparently in the first 3 weeks, it was the worst performing Dragon Ball movie in the franchise. And I'm not the type of person to look how a movie is performing to not watch it. So I finally decided to watch it, and it sure is a bad movie. I don't want to call it the worst movie because we know who that is. We know where that title belongs. I wouldn't say that there's one sole thing that made the movie bad, but there was a culmination of smaller bad things. Let me go through them. First thing is the CGI. A lot of people weren't with the change from 2D to 3D, but personally, I really liked it by the end of the film. It was really cool when Piccolo said, "Why can I see your sound effects?" I thought that was really funny. The next is the focus on Gohan. This one might be a little controversial. Over the years, Gohan has been a fan favorite, and most people wanted him to return back to his peak, like in the Cell Saga. By the way, he was so much better in the Buu Saga. Like, he was so cool then. Even with the Sandman stuff, he was the coolest in the Buu Saga. Okay? So now he gets the spotlight, and it's not done effectively, and I'll get into that soon. And last, the plot. This was the weakest part of the movie. And before we go on, we got some spoilers ahead. I'm sure most of you watching this video have probably watched the movie already, but spoiler warning. There you go. Dr. Gero, the creator of the Red Ribbon Army, that's gonna fuck me up, dude, had a grandson named Dr. Hedo, and he made Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 and was tricked into reviving the Red Ribbon Army. Magenta, the current leader of the Red Ribbon Army, tells Hedo that the Z Fighters are criminals and aliens and they need to be destroyed. So they send out Gamma 2 to fight Piccolo, who is still on Earth. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are on planet Bengus training so they couldn't help, which was the entire B plot of the movie, by the way. So Piccolo decides to take it into his own hands and trick Gohan into fighting, even though he told him, "I have an important study to do, I really can't leave the house, that's why you have to go pick up Pan." Piccolo wishes for power to be unlocked by Shenron, and Bulma wishes for a BBL. Fast forward, Piccolo fake captures Pan in order to lure Gohan out the house. He goes crazy and fights Gamma 1. While Piccolo's fighting Gamma 2, he tells him that they're not on the right side. And he believes him. But they realize this and stop fighting until Magenta releases Cell Max, which is the red version of Cell and he's giant. Piccolo is now orange and tries to stop him. Gohan sees Piccolo hurt and transforms into Beast Gohan. He uses the special beam cannon and kills Cell. And that was basically it. My problems with the movie. I don't like what Piccolo did to Gohan. Like, he was being a bit of an asshole. Like, he could have waited for Goku and Vegeta to come back, but he chose not to. I don't like that. In my head, the Red Ribbon Army was not gonna act until they were able to kill Goku and Vegeta. Also in my head, Goku and Vegeta are much stronger than Gohan and Piccolo, so why didn't you just wait for them to come back to Earth? Even if it took them a couple more days, the Cell Max wasn't ready, so they had time. Piccolo had time to just chill out. Both Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan just seemed thrown into the movie just because fans wanted, a new form for both of them, I guess. We're told that Gohan was training in secret, but I don't think he would have made that much of a jump if he was training by himself. Comparing it to the first time Goku went Super Saiyan, it was not as impactful. Goku was slowly pushed over the edge, while we see Gohan screw up a couple minutes before, like he dropped the sensu beans. And then I was looking at, I think, comments where, like, why can Gohan not see, like, in his regular form, but he can see completely clearly when he's in Super Saiyan? Like, I don't like that. I hate that. And then one of the things that bothered me the most, the whole reason why this movie took place, you telling me Whis couldn't sense his phone staff was ringing?
Why you ain't accept my friend request, bro? What, you don't want to be my friend?
You telling me he couldn't sense that at all? Even if Goku and Vegeta needed to come back immediately, There were 2 senzu beans left for the both of them. Also, Broly didn't fight at all, so if push came to shove and they really needed to fight, Broly could have took out Cell Max, and we're just being honest. Let's be real, this movie did not need to happen. Overall, it felt like all the stakes in the movie were created by Piccolo. This movie would have been a great filler arc in the new Dragon Ball Super series, followed by the manga arc that's coming out now. And speaking of the manga, people are not happy with the current chapters. The latest chapter of the Dragon Ball Super manga is a prequel to what happens in the new movie that features Goten and Trunks, characters that have not gotten a lot of time throughout the series. I think the main problem is that people don't want to come to the sudden stop. I heard that the last couple arcs were really plot heavy, and I've seen some panels myself and it does look really good. But that shouldn't be a reason why you don't enjoy the next arc that comes after it. Personally, I don't read the manga anymore, but I think that Dragon Ball Super is heading in a good direction. The last thing I want to talk about is the Dragon Ball games. Dragon Ball is notorious for having decent fighting games, with fighters being regarded as the best fighting game of all time. I already told you guys how I felt about Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I don't plan to go over it because, the general opinion of the game is good. I want to talk about the most recent release, Dragon Ball The Breakers. I've never played this game, and I never will, but from what I see online, people do not like this game. Most Dragon Ball fans want simple things when it comes to these games: a creatable character, hair that changes when you power up, and moving tails. It's not hard to please the dumbest people on the planet, so why do they waste time and make games that aren't going to do well? Like I said, these are some of the dumbest people in the world. There is a demographic of people who will play anything because it's a known IP or publisher. Dragon Ball and Sonic Frontiers. But with the recent movie and terrible game, is Dragon Ball really on a decline? No, I don't think it is. I think we're in a period where the content is as good as it could be. The movie had some redeeming qualities like a time skip for Goten and Trunks, Gohan's screen time, and just some time to see the characters. As for Dragon Ball The Breakers, it doesn't seem like a good game at all. There are other games that Bandai Namco are still supporting, like Xenoverse 2 on its 200th DLC, and a very passionate modding community, and Dragon Ball Kakarot, which is supposed to be supported well into the future. There is still a bunch of quality to come out of Dragon Ball, and I am looking forward to any new content that's produced. Except for this piece of shit.